obviously Auston Matthews, 1 year left. There's a lot going on in Toronto. They'll be the first to tell you how much is going on. But yeah, Auston Matthews, a year left before unrestricted free agency. Treliving has done this dance already a year ago with Johnny Gaudreau. How do you avoid that this time? He was asked very early on in the presser about Auston Matthews and the strategy about getting him under contract, or if you can't, what do you do moving forward?
Is one of the elite players in the world. You know, we're not talking about a good player in the league. We're talking about an elite player in the world. Getting to Auston is a priority, but outside of the contract stuff, number one is just getting to build that relationship. You know, it's not walking down and trying to arm wrestle about contracts. It's getting down and getting Auston getting a chance to meet him, but more importantly, having Auston get a chance to meet me, know what we're about, and just talk a little bit. So that's priority number one. We know all the things as it relates to all the players in their contract situations, and the timing and all the challenges ahead of us. But we're prepared to get after it. So I'm excited to not only get a chance to meet him, but thrilled to be able to work with him.
Dean, you need to talk to Tree and give him shit, because when he turns his head, he's not talking to him.
I know, right? Because when he's doing one of these things, and then you start looking at this way to talk to the reporter, you can't really hear him. You can't hear him. So yeah, it's mic etiquette. Let me ask you, Rhett, because you've talked a lot about you don't just hand out contracts because what do we do if we lose this guy? Oh, we got to keep this guy. You can't do it. Do you feel like there is a part of that here with this guy? Because he truly is one of the best goal scorers in the world. He is a center.
He's the number one center.
You then have to replace, and we know how hard that is. So, okay, you trade him, but then you got to get another first-line center and probably pay him. I guess just thoughts on where you find Treliving with Matthews.
I think he's in a tough spot because I think Matthews has been handed the keys to the castle, and it's all up to him. What the hell is Treliving going to do?
I know.
He's going to back up the Brinks,
levers, right? Yeah.
He's going to back up the Brinks and try and sign him or effing trade him. Like, what? You can make it as complicated as you want, and he can get to meet you and all this stuff. Sure, I'm sure it's all important, but Auston Matthews holds all the cards.
He makes 11
the
points.
Whole deck. He has the whole deck of cards. What can Treliving convince him of? Matthews knows Toronto. He knows the market. I'm not going to call. He's going to want all the money.
Yep.
But he can get. He's been given all the money that he possibly could get, and in the best contract he could have ever hoped for, the last one. He's wanted all around the league. He can shoot. Like there's nothing that Treliving can convince him of. It's up to Matthews.
We've watched these situations play out. The player just gets more and more leverage the closer you get to free agency. And if you need to be reminded how Auston Matthews' only other negotiation went, given that entry levels are basically a stamp, he held the gun to their head. They walked him right to free agency as early as possible for his age, and they gave him all the money. So don't think this is going to be easy. He'll be the highest paid player coming out of this if he's a Leaf.
No matter what.
Yeah, like unless he's trying to go to a certain spot. But I just think, look, like the cap has been flat for a while. We're coming out of the pandemic. The IOU's almost paid off. You've got huge money coming in from Seattle. When he's a free agent, there might be $8 million more per team to spend. Yeah, it's a perfect time to be a free agent. He's
hitting dingers. Like there's no.
He'll make more money. When he retires, he'll be made more money than anyone else in the NHL.
The biggest decision for Treliving is: do I give him everything and hope that he scores 60 a year and continues to be that number one, right? And we find a way to succeed in the playoffs? Or do I trade him? Because if you trade him, you immediately... We talked about it here. Hey, should we trade Lindholm? What are you going to get for frickin' Matthews?
Oh, absolute haul.
Right? Like, so the issue is, we got to refill the number one center. Are you kidding me? You don't think that you can go and get a top... Well, who was the number 3 pick they were talking about out of Columbus?
Yeah.
Right, like you're getting everything you want. That's Tree's. The nice thing for Tree is, if I decide if he's not going to stay here, and I decide to trade him, I am getting the king's ransom in return.
The other thing is William Nylander's not going to come back at 6.9. He was an absolute stud, probably their best player this season. Like he needs a serious raise. He comes up at the same time. If you're going to bring both those guys back, even though the cap may jump up in 2 years, you're right back into the 4 guys are eating all our salary, which is really hamstringing them in a lot of ways. What's that?
You got to get Tavares out of there.
Yeah, he's got 2 years left, so it is what it is. But you're right; it's a classic UFA deal. He was a very good player. He got more money than he should have, and the last few years are more painful than you'd hoped.
You guys are good at math. I'm gonna and this is pretty quick math, and I know it, but just for the sake of Matthews entry level deal, 3 years, 11.325.
So that was bonuses, all that. Yep.
Yeah. So 11.325. And at the end of next season, he will have completed his 5-year extension at $58,195,000.
So he's already at $70 million.
He has made $70 million with outside of endorsements. And how old is he?
Well, he's going to be the youngest free agent number 1 center that we've
25, 26 years old.
Yeah, and he's about to sign a 7 or 8 year deal with the highest AAV in the league. If our projections are anywhere close to correct, he will be the highest paid, wealthiest player in the history of this league when that contract's up. Like McDavid, he'll make more than McDavid, and McDavid went 8 years. David gave him 3 free agent years. Austin's like, why would I give you free agent years? I'm the star. Pay me. LeBron doesn't hand out free years. Why should Connor?
Who is? I mean, it's up to, you know what? If you're just about the money, Matthews is doing it right. Yeah, I taken a shot at McDavid because he can absolutely could have or
you got 15 times 5.
Yeah. But maybe you should compliment him for being you know what? I'm here. I've got a team. I want to do well by my team. I'm not gonna. So I don't think Matthews is going to do that.
No, and he hasn't prior. It would be out of character. And to be fair, Connor, it's a great thing to do for the team. The problem is you gave Pete Chiarelli a bunch of blank checks that he messed up.
And just be honest about it. If you're talking about an 8-year deal at 15 a year, taxes matter.
Oh, big time. Yeah,
taxes matter.
Taxes matter, but at the same time, they almost don't matter.
They do if you're worried about.
But honestly, when you've made $70 million and you're going to make another 80,
at least.
Like I know we can hum and haw about $8, $9, $10 million in tax, but it makes zero impact on his life.
Yeah, it depends what it's important.
Disagree.
Like I think you see,
what kind of a lifestyle would you have to have where you've made
10 million? If he asks any player that ever played before if $10 million matters, you'll get your answer.
I see both your points. Like if his career earnings are going to be between 150 and 200 million, it's like you can pick your spots and not be too worried about taxes. But to Rhett's point, like what at the end of your career when you're 70, it's like, hey, remember you could have gone to that tax friendlier place. You could have an extra 20 million. 20 million can do a lot of things.
And the other thing is, it's a there's tax friendlier places.
Yeah,
that are pretty nice to live in.
Yeah. The other thing you do is you load up with signing bonuses and things like that. And honestly, the one thing that maybe we haven't seen that Austin might show the template is sign a 3-year deal at 15 and then hit the market again when the cap's even higher. Like he's shown he kind of broke the mold for what contracts look like. Nobody ever gave a guy all the money and walked him right to you.
Dubas broke the mold.
Well, I mean, whatever it was, if the agent's saying it's this or he's not showing up, but yeah, Dubas got worked in that negotiation to be sure. But whether it was him or the agent or whatever, what's clear is that post that contract, Stars now have the ability to say, no, I want to go right to UFA. And if you're one of the few guys that can score 60 in the league, I guess you could get it. Like Pasternak took a hometown discount at less than 12, I believe, in Boston.
It's a great world. You know what? I'm going to do you all a favor.
Big favor here, guys.
I'll settle at $11.5 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it's going to take.
Ask for 13.
You're welcome.
I looked into the forecast. It rains a lot in Seattle. They have cap space. I'll stay here, I guess, for
welcome.
11.5.
You're welcome. And I guess just my last thought on that, Retro, is I get the whole tax thing. And yeah, of course, money's money. And more money is better than less money. I get it. But I just wonder if the tax thing isn't more of an issue if you're in that $4, $5, $6 million range than when you're in 12.
Stupid money.
It's more money, but are you not more able to absorb that when you're making $12 million?
I'm telling you my thoughts on it.
All
Everyone has their own approach to things. I could have tried to get more money in my career, but got a contract that I thought was great. It's not the do-all, end-all for everyone. Taxes matter.
One final thought before we move off Auston Matthews. Think about where Matthew Tkachuk's stock was last summer. Like, really good year, career year. Not the best player on his team, you wouldn't think, but an elite player in the league. Not a superstar, but a star. And the Flames got the guy that finished second in the scoring race, a top pair defenseman, a first-round draft pick, and a B prospect in Cole Schwint, or whatever you want to call what him is as an asset. How much more do you get with Auston Matthews? And I understand that Huberdeau hasn't panned out, but we didn't know that at the time. You got a 115-point player and a top-pair defenseman and a first. Like, to Rhett's point about if you moved him, it's got to be significantly more than that, doesn't it?
Honest to God, it might be the better move.
Long-term for sure it is.
That's what I think. Yeah. It's easy to say, well, we got a number one center and he's a 60-goal guy. And absolutely, I do not I respect Auston Matthews' talent and what he does. He gets the puck when he's on the ice. It changes the game.
Mm-hmm.
They've failed because they can't manage cap and spend money and spread it out amongst the team. You might be better off moving him.
What it would do is it would allow you to, okay, we still have a ton of offensive ability. Marner, Nylander, Tavares ain't dead yet. Now maybe we can keep a Bunting in the fold. We can upgrade on the blue line. We can invest in a goaltender rather than just rolling the dice every year with someone. And the other thing what it does is Tavares is 2 years from coming off the books. Now you could load up to maybe make a run at a Leon Draisaitl or a Connor McDavid in 2 or 3 years when they're up. Like, you can't do those things if you bring back William and Austin at huge dollars that frankly they command.
And I mean, I can't be I can be hypocritical. I'm quite good at it actually, but for me to say the kids are able to come in and play and make an impact, how good was Auston Matthews his first 3-4 years? Fuck, he was good.
He got 4 goals his first game in the league. Played Ottawa, first game in the NHL.
You can
fucking kidding me?
It's not 60 goals to 0.
Yeah.
Right? Like, these kids that you go get will contribute.
And they've demonstrated what having a 60-goal guy, it hasn't. They've had great regular seasons. I don't know. He's too young to start painting him with a brush as a guy.
I'm not painting him with any brush. I'm just
I know.
painting with. It's a lot of money to tie up.
Because I was just going to say, I don't want to, but you do watch him, and he loves scoring goals. But I do wonder does he have that next, when shit gets hard, does he have that next gear, that next
you said
level
it yesterday,
to get to?
I think Ovechkin is the best comp for him because these were the types of conversations we had about Ovechkin before he won. And it doesn't mean that Austin will win. It just reminds us that you need a lot of things to go right and that you could be the best player in the league by a mile. And I'm not saying these guys are, but we've watched Connor. He's never played in a Stanley Cup final. And I blame the GMs that they've had more than I blame Connor. But you need a lot of things to go right in this tournament. It's fucking crazy. And so have they had bad fortune in Toronto? Yes. Have they had some bad performances in big spots? Yes. Are they owed more luck, generally speaking, over the last 8 series they played? Yeah, they have. So I'm with you. You can't paint this guy as a never will win guy.
Hockey continues to prove it's a team sport.